Hey, welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to all of you that have shared it out there. Today I want to talk about a topic that is really important to me and something that I believe really has helped shape my life, and hopefully it can help you in your journey. But this is really the concept of controlling you, and you control you. And there's been countless times in my life where people have told me that I shouldn't do something, I can't do something, or that I'm not good enough to do something. And I have heard that time and time again. And while there might be some truth to it, I think that you really control your own boundaries and you have the ability to do the greatest things in the world when you believe in them. And some of the people over my life, have told me I'm not qualified, I am not talented enough, I don't have natural skill, and or I'm too late in life. And there's been so many times, and I'm going to tell you a couple stories where I've had to kind of live through that and work through that. But I want to talk about where this all started, because I believe as I look back into my own life, there was a turning point where I had the mindset shift that I can do anything I want. And doesn't mean I have to be the best at it. Doesn't mean I have to win every time, but if I want to do something, the only thing holding me back is me. And when you can come to the realization that the only thing holding you back is you, well, it's going to be pretty amazing what you can do in life. And again, setting the right, expectations for your own self is also important. If I said I want to go become the greatest basketball player in the world, and at my age, that's pretty much impossible. Like, maybe, I guess, but highly unlikely, and certainly not something I'm going to go expend my time to do. So you have to be realistic, but at the same time, you have to believe in yourself. And so let me tell you when this all started for me. So I was 16 years old. I was a junior in high school, and I was having lunch with a couple of my friends at Little Caesars Pizza, and we were eating crazy bread, which was basically garlic bread. And the Little Caesars was around the corner from the high school I went to. And we were sitting there eating our crazy bread, and I saw a couple of dudes walk in that were really buff, and they were, just sitting there ordering something, off the menu. And I overheard them talking about this high school bodybuilding competition and how they were getting ready for it, and it was going to be in the spring, and this was in the fall, so like 5-6 months before the actual competition. And I just was listening to them talk about it, and I got really interested for some reason in that concept. And so I'd asked them, I said, hey, what is this? And they kind of looked at me and kind of chuckled, because I was not a bodybuilder by any stretch of the imagination at that point. I mean, I liked fitness because I was a ski racer, but I certainly wasn't like them. And they told me about it, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. And when they got done talking, I went back to my friends and I'm like, I'm going to do this contest. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, seriously, like, this sounds like something I can really dig my teeth into. I can focus on it. I can really spend the next 5-6 months preparing myself and my body to be in this. And they like laughed at me like, dude, you're eating crazy bread at Little Caesars. Like, that is not the diet for a bodybuilder. And they were right. But for some reason, I got possessed at that time. And I got just maniacal on my focus on becoming, in this or joining this bodybuilding competition. And that's what I did. I signed up, and I spent the next 5-6 months just grinding. I would get up at 4 in the morning. I would go do a body part at the gym, and then after school, I would go back to the gym and I would do a second body part. And so I was doing these split 2-day workouts. My entire diet changed. This was pre-internet, so I had to go actually talk to people. I met a guy at the gym who, was a former bodybuilder, and he gave me some tips and really appreciated all the insight that he had given to me. And, I kept at it, and I kept grinding and lifting and getting stronger every day. And, I was 16 years old, so my body was very receptive to, to this kind of workout. And at the time of the competition, I entered as a middleweight. I don't remember how much exactly I weighed at that time. Went into the competition. I'd never done anything like this in my life. And so went on, did my series of poses, I then had a routine, which is kind of comical. I actually have it on video that I will not share on this particular segment. But I ended up doing this competition against all these people who've been training for who knows how long, and I got second place. And I was really, really stoked. Very, very happy. And that moment in time, I didn't know it at that time, but it changed everything for me. And I mean everything. Since that day when I was 16 years old, every day, I think about working out, I think about proper nutrition, I think about health. Like, it has become so important and so impactful in my life that it's enabled me to have the discipline to do some great things far outside of fitness and nutrition. And so that moment, everyone told me, laughed at me, like, who are you that you're going to go be this competition? Like, I gave it a real run. I thought there was a moment where I was actually going to win. And, I'm not unhappy with my second place, but it was one of those times where I'm like, you can do anything you want. You just have to do it. So again, this applies to business, this applies to personal, this applies to every aspect of your life, but you just have to have the confidence that if you put in your best effort, that you're going to do as best as you possibly can. Does that mean you're going to win every time? No. But as long as you're knowing you're giving it your everything, you can really do anything you want and overcome any adversity that you have. I've dealt with this, again, countless times. I remember when I started my first payments company, and I was 22, 21 years old, and I was competing against these dudes wearing suits, looked like bankers, and I said, we're going to do this differently. And I built a company that did over 100 million in sales. We had 350 employees, spanning over 28 offices, and we did it just because of belief. We did it because of confidence in our abilities to prevail when everyone else told us we couldn't. And again, I think about like my life, everything I do, whether it's something that it's just a hobby, whether it's something that I'm just scared to do and I want to overcome it, whether it's a business, like, it all is driven based upon the belief that I can become something. So if you're out there and you're wanting to start a business, if you're wanting to change your life, if you're wanting to learn a new skill, if you're wanting to just do something that's different, you have to have the belief that if you put in your best effort, that you can do anything. Anything is possible. And so don't let the naysayers, don't let the people that are telling you it can't be done because you don't have the skill, you don't have the smarts, the talent, whatever it is, don't let them stand in your way and saying you can't do it. One of my favorite things to do, and I know not everybody's a big fan of this, but I really I like resolutions, and not so much resolutions like I'm going to do something better, but more resolutions like things that I want to accomplish or do that that I'm going to give myself a year to do. And there was one year, I remember my goal was really to do things that terrified me. And so some of the things I did that year, stand-up comedy. I don't want to be a stand-up comic, like that's not my goal, but to me, like, that's one of the scariest things that you could ever do, would be stand-up comedy. And I remember I was at the Improv in Palm Beach, Florida, and they had an open mic night, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. And there were like 300 people in the audience, and I was terrified. I had worked out my little bit. I had 5 minutes, which is a long time on stage when you've never done that before. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. And while I didn't get picked up by Saturday Night Live or anything like that, like, I overcame a fear. I got laughs. People thought it was funny. I had people come up to me after and said that was a really good set. And so, like, for me, that was overcoming a fear, which is one more thing to give me the confidence to be able to go and do what I really want to do. And so as you're thinking about, your life and what you're trying to accomplish, like, do things that make you, stretch. Do things that make you become, different, or get out of your comfort zone. Because again, the only limiting factor is you. And so once you can get out of your own way and you can start letting the you that's inside, not the you that you want the world to see, but the you that is in there, that for whatever reason hasn't come out. Maybe you're afraid, maybe you haven't had the opportunity, but when you can let the real you come out, man, that's when amazing things can happen. That's when you start to really enjoy life, and that's when just, all the things that you're meant to do in this world start to happen, and everything that you think is possible can now become possible. So do things that scare you, believe in your confidence, don't let naysayers tell you can't do something, and don't be afraid. This life is short. Don't be afraid about the what if. Like, I do things all the time that scare the heck out of me. And I do them because I know it's going to make me better, and I know it's going to make me stronger. And a lot of people laugh at me. I have friends that laugh at me. Hell, a lot of people laugh at me about this podcast. They're like, what are you doing? And the fact is that I like to share. I like to talk. And even if I'm just talking to myself, I like to tell people about the experiences and hope that they can benefit from it. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I certainly appreciate all of you that have liked, commented, and definitely those of you that shared. And thanks for tuning in, and look forward to talking to you again. Take care.